the fuck?
Here we go again. Alright, so for people who don't know me, hi, I'm Misa, and I love bad movies. And not only do I love watching bad movies, but I love talking about them and getting other people to watch them because I enjoy making people watch the stupid shit that I like. Hence why I'm making this video. And I've been interested in making YouTube videos about bad movies and have been doing it on and off for a while now. Back in 2019, I rebranded my channel to start doing videos about movies that I found either amazingly hilarious as bad movies, or ones that made me want to destroy my PC monitor due to how horrendous they were. And through a load of hiatuses and a gap of 5 years? Fucking hell. There was one review I did that was extremely negative to the point where I refused to even call the movie a movie. And that was The Beaster Bunny. Also, I want to get this out of the way now, but I'm sorry if my voice sounds more nasally than usual, or I sound off, but I'm recovering from quite a bad chest infection, and I want to record the audio for this video so that I can get it done at least within the first few weeks of January. So, yeah, sorry about that. Alright, so something that occurred to me recently regarding this movie is that I watched it, I made the video, and then I just never watched it again. I've had it on my DVD shelf all this time, and I just never decided to revisit it because all I could remember about it was that I hated it. And yes, that means that as funny as the bit at the end of my old video where I chucked the movie in the bin was, I lied. I realised this when I was looking back through my DVD collection and I was thinking of which movies to cover for the next couple of months. And after looking back at my old content to see why I hated the movie so much,
but this is not set in real life. This product is clearly set in an alternate universe where everyone is fucking.
Oh boy. I decided that I wanted to rewatch the whole thing and figure out whether it was worth revisiting in a video. And debate as to whether my seemingly pure hatred for this film was warranted, or whether I was just being over the top about my feelings for it. And so I'm doing that today. But before I go any further, just a quick thank you to my patrons, Rob Slide and Fox. You guys absolutely rock, and you've been so supportive with my content and my artwork, so thank you so much. Especially with me being sick recently, you guys have been so patient, thank you. Now, let's get into whether I was wrong about the Beaster Bunny. So I think that the first thing I should do is go over the movie very briefly, since I've already made a whole video going over the detailed plot that this movie has, and I don't feel like doing it again. I'll link my old video in the description in case you guys want a proper deep dive into the movie's plot. Even though I don't think that the video itself is great, I do think that the summary of the movie section is at least alright, and it serves its purpose of showing how ridiculous the Beaster Bunny is. But I also think that for context, it might be worth watching that video and coming back anyway, since I'll be referencing the video a lot during this video. But obviously, you don't have to, it might just help a bit. If you do decide to watch it, then be prepared for a drop in scripting quality, and for me to be a furry. I do kind of miss that old Avatar design though, it was pretty cute. Although I have definitely improved in the art department. I know that this isn't my usual style when it comes to these reviews, but in all honesty, I wanted this to be more of a video essay as to why my old video was trash, and not understanding how it's the second most viewed video on my channel, like what the fuck? And analysing whether I was justified in my undying hatred of the film as opposed to going over the movie again. So, the movie is about a giant bunny. Or ferret. I don't really know what this is supposed to be. I mean, I'm no lagomorphologist, but I don't think this is a rabbit, personally. I probably butchered that pronunciation, and I could have just said zoologist, but I thought that this would make me sound more intelligent, but I probably mispronounced it, so probably not. The quote-unquote bunny goes around killing a bunch of people, and this dog-captured duo end up luring it away from this Easter celebration event and kill it. Now, that's a very brief version of what happens in the movie, because honestly, there's like 20 different deaths in the film, and they all usually just go the same way. Either it's a dim man trying to run away from the creature and dying in a stupid and ridiculous way, or it's a dim woman who's in a revealing outfit trying to run away from the creature, maybe even having her top fall off or something, and dying in a stupid and ridiculous way. Other than that, there's a subplot with this dog catcher character wanting to win this Dog Catcher of the Year award, but coming in second, and him kind of falling for this girl that just is not interested in him. And I know that this is going to be a very niche reference for you guys, but rewatching this last month, this guy reminded me so much of Peter from the Your Boyfriend game for some reason. Like, he's creepy, lanky, speaks like an awkward dweeb who'd probably also end up being very pushy. It just all fits.
Yeah, hey, whatever.
You're a good one.
No hate to Peter, he's like a comfort character of mine, and I've done a shit ton of fan art for him. I just could not stop thinking about this when I was watching the movie. There's also a subplot about this dad and daughter and him wanting her to get a job because she keeps asking him for money to study for various creative career paths. But it doesn't really have any bearing on the plot, to be honest. Okay, so now that we have a basic grasp on what the movie is about, is it as bad as I initially thought? Well, honestly, no. As I've said before, for this video, I went back and rewatched my old video on the movie, and honestly, the video is so terrible that I really want to take it down.
It's a 2014 product that was re-released in 2017 and shipped off to the UK for some unknown reason. You Yanks just love shoving your shit where it doesn't belong, don't ya? We give you Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and this is how you fucking repay us?
Like, girl, what are you talking about? I honestly feel this way about a lot of my old videos, but I'll keep them up since when I unlisted them all before, you guys wanted them all back up for whatever reason. Like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that you guys like my old videos, but I don't personally get it. I think they're awful. But it seems that within the video, I had 3 main points of contention with this movie. Number 1, the movie was very evidently low budget, but despite that, I wanted the movie to at least make an effort to be an actual, well, movie. Number 2, the DVD cover was an egregious lie, and the monster looked nothing like that within the movie. And number 3, and this point is one that I don't think I articulated well within the video, but the movie felt extremely exploitative and lazy with the use of women taking their clothes off constantly and the sex humor. Now, with the first point, I don't really know how valid the point is that the movie should try and work harder with the budget that it had, because, let's be honest, this movie wasn't trying to be a proper movie. Some movies are just trying to be silly parodies, right? Like, we can all agree that there are some bad movies out there that we can't expect to be amazing comedies with great cinematography, acting, and mic quality. Not every comedy is going to be Shaun of the Dead or What We Do in the Shadows, right? And I can accept that, especially after all the bad movies I've watched in my time. There are films that are placed in the same category as bad movies like this one, such as The Snarling or Snake at Compton, that I argue are great despite the limitations that they have, mainly because they're trying to be funny, and I think they succeed in that. And this should have really been my criticism of The Beaster Bunny. It's just not funny. Okay, well, that's not exactly fair to say. I should say that I don't find it funny. Humor is subjective, and even I admit in my old video that some of the jokes in the movie did make me laugh, but overall, the humor, it's just not my cup of tea. Much like House Shark, I find a lot of the jokes in this movie immature and over the top, and honestly, it gave me disaster movie or date movie vibes with its comedy style, and that is not a good thing. Most of it relies on sex jokes, jokes about characters doing gay sex acts, because I guess gay sex is hilarious to the people who wrote this.
Because I could fall back on my old job. So many glory holes.
Or it just relies on outlandish random absurdist humor. And listen, I actually like absurdist humor a lot, but only when it's done in a clever way. For example, like a lot of people, I love Smiling Friends, which is one of the most what the actual hell is happening comedy shows ever made, and I love it for that. But when the joke is just the bunny kicked someone in a goal like a football, I mean, that's random, but it's not really funny. Rewatching it, there were a few jokes that I did find funny, like this scene between the daughter and the dad.
You see this napkin?
Yeah, Dad, I see the napkin.
It's a napkin. What's it for? It's to wipe my face. right? But with a little compromise, I can take the napkin and I can make it into a hat to keep the rain off my head. But in the end, it is a napkin that I can wipe my face with.
And don't you think the napkin's miserable? That you're trying to make it be something it's not?
No, I don't think it's miserable. I think it's a fucking napkin and it doesn't know how to think.
See, I find this funny because it seems like a natural conversation, the analogy is really stupid and ridiculous, and the punchline is also stupid. But that's what makes it humorous. Also, side note, but in my previous video I said that none of the actors in the movie are good or are trying to act at all. But I retract that statement. This dad character seemed like he actually kind of gave a shit about seeming like an actual character, which is definitely more than I can say for the majority of the other actors in this film. His delivery is so natural, and because of that, he has a few scenes that actually made me chuckle. And I actually kind of wish that there was more of him in the film. I think that instead of comparing The Beaster Bunny to movies like The Blair Witch Project or Evil Dead because of the budgetary restraints, I think what I really should have done is compare it to something more similar to itself in terms of the budget and the movie genre, like The Snarling. Now, I know that I bring The Snarling up quite a lot in my videos, but that's because I genuinely believe that it's an amazing example of a bad movie, with the budgetary restraints that manage to be so obviously a piss take of the monster movie genre. And it was funny. I don't think that any joke in The Beaster Bunny is anywhere near as funny as the serial killer joke in The Snarling.
Serial killer or psychopath.
So yeah, I feel like this is a more fitting criticism. Now, when it comes to the DVD cover being an egregious lie, well, I even admit in the video that this is common practice when it comes to bad movies, so this isn't anything crazy. I don't even really know why I banged on about this point in the original video. This literally happens all the time. I mean, fuck, even the Snarling does it. The werewolf doesn't look anything like that in the film. You think they had the budget for that? I think the reason that I probably brought it up was to point out how different the monster looked compared to the final product. But again, a lot of movies do this, so it's not a big deal. Various films that I've reviewed on this channel have outright lied about what the monster looks like on the cover. So this is kind of a nothing point. If I bring this up nowadays when I'm talking about a movie, it's usually just to laugh at how much the cover lied, rather than to be outraged that they lied at all. And for the last point, well, here's the thing. Back when I was first starting to make videos about bad movies, I didn't really know how to articulate why movies like this that exploited women's bodies without any actual reason, except to keep the audience's attention, just made me feel irritated. Just to get real for a second, but during that time, I was still coming out of my really cringe anti-SJW mindset. God, that phrase feels so dated now. And trying to explain something like that kinda just made me feel worried that people were gonna call me a cultural Marxist, or woke, or whatever the fuck they're calling left-leaning creators nowadays. But now that I've had time to become more comfortable with my own beliefs, even if people in my audience disagree with me, I figured out how best to describe why this feels kinda icky to me. Not just because I'm a woman myself, but because I'm someone who actually likes movies. And I want them, even the bad ones, to have comedy and fun sequences that don't rely on showing tits every couple of scenes. Much like Clownado, this movie has a lot of female nudity. It also has women in scantily clad outfits, and let's be honest, female characters that aren't too bright and basically just walk right into being killed by the bunny. And when it comes to monster movies, especially parodies, this can just be seen as par for the course. But I find it just so lazy. Now, I could make the point that the treatment of women in horror as a whole has always been a bit sexist. And trust me, I watch a shit ton of horror movies, and I have since I was a kid, so I have the credentials to notice patterns in the genre. But the point isn't even really that deep to me. It all comes down to the laziness in the writing, and pessimism as to whether moviegoers are going to enjoy a movie if there isn't a naked woman on screen. And before anybody thinks I'm just out here trying to censor breasts or anything, I'm bi. I love boobs, man. I just care more about the enjoyment of a movie than being able to see tits in that movie. How Shark actually did the same thing, naked women walking around when they didn't need to be naked, jokes about having sex with women, jokes about women being unfuckable. Now, you can go and watch my video on that movie if you want to know more about it, because I had a lot to say about the jokes and the sexism in that film. But this all ties back to the humour, or lack thereof, of these types of movies. It's all just really immature and lazy, almost like a teenage boy who just discovered Pornhub for the first time wrote it. And to me personally, when your movie has to rely on women getting naked for people to pay attention, it just tells me that you're not confident in your product. I mean, having the joke in this scene, for example, be, oh, ha ha ha, her top fell off, and oh my god, ha ha ha, she's bouncing her tits around instead of running away. Like, what's the joke? We all know that the scene isn't there because the director thought that the audience would find it funny that she's not running away properly. And the camera is zooming in on her tits, which clearly isn't supposed to be funny. The scene is there so that the audience can just stare at her chest, and that is it. It's like jangling fucking keys in front of us and expecting us to be entertained. Give me an actual joke! I did say this in the original video, but if I wanted to see women with their tits out, I would just go watch porn. I mean, I wouldn't, because I have to give my ID to Pornhub now due to the Digital Safety Act, and I am not doing that, but you get my point. I can accept female nudity in films, even ones like, for example, Terrifier, that are just considered mindless torture porn. But when it's done in movies just to keep the attention of the audience, it just feels exploitative and, again, lazy. I mean, at least with Terrifier, the movie was crazy violent before the point where the nudity happened. So the audience was already paying attention, the nudity was just there as, like, a topping. And also, I know someone is going to say, oh, well, what about male nudity? Do you have a problem with that in movies? And first of all, there isn't any male nudity in this film in particular, so it's a bit of a moot point, but if you're talking generally, look, if a movie is boring and uninteresting, and then the director decides to just chuck a penis on screen for shock value, or even a toned male torso or something, I would have the exact same reaction of, why the fuck is this in the movie? Like, obviously, as somebody who is attracted to men, a fit man is nice to look at, but I'm gonna have the same issues with the sexual exploitation of men in a boring movie as I do women. Maybe only slightly less so because it doesn't happen as often and there isn't a creepy history of it in cinema. And before people say it does happen as often, I would like to point you to any of the disturbing movies from the majority of disturbing movie icebergs below, like, level 2? Most of them just consist of women being raped and or murdered, dude. Plus, women, believe it or not, don't tend to ogle men's dicks like men do women's tits. If a dick is shown in film, it's usually either for shock value or for a joke because, I mean, let's be honest, dicks look funny. And I mean, I do have to admit, every woman's ideal female gaze in movies is different, so I can't speak for all women here. I mean, personally, my version of the female gaze in a movie that appeals to me specifically is a man in a mask or a freaky humanoid, so, you know, like Evan McCone in Running Man or Surgeon General in Skin Deep. They're both, pretty hot. What? Look, you guys know I'm a freak, okay? Anyway, my main point is that the nudity just feels super lazy and exploitative, so I'm not really a fan. So, with all that being said, is the Beaster Bunny as bad as I remember? No. I've been really thinking about this, and I honestly don't know why I hated the movie so much. Maybe it's because I hadn't come across other movies like The Clown Chainsaw Massacre or Piglet yet. Because I have a deep-seated hatred for those films, and I don't think that's changing anytime soon. I probably just needed to expose myself to more content and films to let myself appreciate that, even though I don't think The Beaster Bunny is good by any means, it's definitely not the worst thing I've ever watched. I decided that since I took the time to rewatch the movie that I would chuck it onto my tier list, and it took me a while to decide where the hell to put it. When I watched it initially for this video, I had some beers to see whether I could enjoy it a little tipsy, and unfortunately I actually wanted to turn it off quite a few times. The thing is, the nudity and stupid kills are what are supposed to make you want to keep watching the film, but like I said earlier, the nudity just made me feel the ick, and the death scenes just made me sigh with irritation because they were so dumb. I think this is partly why the snarling works so much for me, because the deaths were pretty much all off-screen, and the body parts that they showed afterwards using practical effects were used for physical humour rather than being used in a bad kill scene. They utilised the budget to make jokes with what they had rather than attempting a big kill scene and making it stupid on purpose to get a cheap laugh, and to have an excuse for not trying harder with the story, because look, we did a funny. However, like I said earlier, a few of the jokes did make me chuckle, but that wasn't enough to make me enjoy the movie as a whole. If I hadn't have watched this before, and only watched it recently and decided to make a video on it, I feel like I might have been lighter on it than I originally was, but I still don't think that this is a good bad movie. Due to this, I can't put it in drunken fun, because it wasn't fun to watch tipsy. But I also don't feel that I can put it in wow you really didn't try, because I can't in good conscience say that the Beaster Bunny is as good as Zombiesaurus, Halloween Candy, or even Subway Shark. At least Zombiesaurus and Halloween Candy had actual characters other than one, and like, a real story. And Subway Shark is just too endearing due to its origins for me to rate the Beaster Bunny as equal to it. So I'm going to be putting it in 0 out of 10 will never watch again, but towards the higher end. It's still bad in my opinion, but I don't hate it. It's just another badly done monster movie parody with not much else to offer other than nudity, a stupid looking monster, laughably bad deaths, and one character who actually feels like a character and not some mindless person about to be killed. And now that I've watched it again, it's going back on my DVD shelf, and maybe next Christmas I'll give it to a family member that I hate so I can get rid of it after all. I mean, I'm not giving it away to a charity shop. It wouldn't exactly be an act of charity if I did that, would it? So, don't really like getting political in my videos anymore. It's really one of my least favourite things to do, so I hope that I didn't piss anybody off with my views. But if you do disagree with me for whatever reason, whether it be because of my ranking of the movie, or because of the points that I made, then you can let me know in the comments, or you can tweet at me. The links to my Twitter/X and Blue Sky accounts, as well as my letterboxd, are in the description. And for the generous people who would like to support me making these videos, my Ko-Fi and my Patreon are also in the description. If you join the Patreon, you'll receive early access to my videos, my artwork, and monthly commissions by yours truly, similar to the examples that I am showing on screen now. So if that interests you, or you like the look of my art style, then you can become a member, or you can just message me on Twitter or Blue Sky because I do commission separately from my Patreon. And I'll also be communicative in the Patreon when I'm sick, like I have been the last couple of weeks. I've still been posting art and updates on the video so you can keep up to date with me. So yeah, I would be super appreciative if you did. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I'm going to be going back to my old format of going through the movie's events in detail next time. I got loads of bad movies for Christmas, so I've got a lot to work with. And I've already picked which movie I am covering next, and trust me, you guys are gonna like it. It is an absolute doozy. But anyway, I will see you guys then. Bye!